Happy Black History Month and welcome to Let's Talk on Win TV. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer, and so excited for the show that we are going to have today as we kick off Black History Month. We've got some amazing guests, and it wouldn't have been a better time to do this, of course, any day, at the Washington Informer. And with these folks, we celebrate Black History 365, right? 365 days a year. But this is our month, so we're going to claim it and we're going to do some extra special things today with some extra special people, including our guest, Dr. Karsonya Whitehead, who is the president of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, otherwise known as ASALH. We're also expecting Aaron Myers, executive director of the DC Commission on Arts and Humanities, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the exciting programs the commission will be hosting this month and ways you might be able to get some funding for your special programs with the commission. And then last but not least, and I'm so hungry right now, but I got to talk to him first, Chef Steve, founder and owner of Sweet Tooth Café. And he's going to talk about his wonderful desserts, but that's not all you'll find and enjoy at their newest location in downtown Anacostia. Well, we are 5 weeks into 2026, and we're wishing, like Biggie said, it was all a dream, but it's not. This is reality. The snow was too much, the ice, too much ice. We're still trying to get rid of the ice. School closings in Prince George's County and Montgomery counties, and then, of course, delayed openings and the traffic, horrendous traffic throughout the District of Columbia with the snow and the ice trucks and the salt trucks and all of that. I mean, but we've made it through. That's the one thing we've made it through. And, no big deal, but the groundhogs who you usually announce when winter will end, well, they unanimously predicted that we will have 6 more weeks of winter. No surprise. We just hope that when those 6 weeks are over, that winter will be over. Because, I've had on like winter coats in May, but, let's not go there. So, we all just want it over. And switching topics for a minute, we were saddened to hear about the passing of local professional golfer Ray Savoy. And also Pierpont Mobley, a White House appointee, veteran, activist, and champion of district small businesses. We've lost them over the last couple of weeks, and of course there have been others, but we wanted to highlight the two of them, and you can read more about their lives and their contributions to our community in the Washington Informer online. And speaking of the Washington Informer, we want to make sure you pick up a copy of this week's issue of the Washington Informer. It appears that journalism is being tested and tried, and reporter Stacey Brown wrote about the arrest of 2 journalists. We've heard the story of the 2 journalists that were arrested in relationship to a protest in Minneapolis. And then our Black History Spotlight, Sam P.K. Collins talked about former WHUR reporter Maurice Williams, a classmate of mine who attended Coolidge High School, also, as I said, attended Howard University School of Communications, who was killed many years ago during the Hanafi Muslim siege. But that just proves that journalism has always been a risky business. Where Sam talked about Maurice's contributions, but the fact that, as a Black history note, the press room at the Wilson Building is named in honor of Maurice Williams. And so these are some of the stories and more that you will read in this week's Washington Informer. And if you can't get a printed copy online, you can access the digital edition anytime, anywhere, by visiting our website at washingtoninformer.com. And while you're there, please consider becoming a subscriber. Access is free, and by becoming a subscriber, you will receive our publication directly in your inbox, along with our daily news updates and our exclusive e-service, Win Daily. All we need is your email address. We're not asking you your age, your address, your credit card, nothing. All we need is your email address. So go to the WashingtonInformer.com, sign up. We want to see you as a part of the Informer family. And while tuning in to the show today, and let me go back to that. When I say the Informer family, I know all of us are just feeling for the 300 and so employees at the Washington Post who were laid off this week. And that's in addition to the layoffs that we've seen there, or the buyouts we've seen there over the last 2 years. There are a lot of journalists who are out of business right now who are out of work, who really want to do the business of journalism. And so my heart and prayers go out to many of them. And through your support, I've got to say this: if you support the Washington Informer, you can donate. If you go to the website, there's a way you can donate to the Informer. Of course, we'd love to have if you own a business, we would love for you to advertise with us. But that's the revenue that we need that allow us to pay for the staff and to provide, to print the newspapers, to update the website, to do Win TV and Let's Talk. It's your dollars that really help us to survive. And so the more of those dollars we have, the more we could possibly reemploy or employ some of these journalists who have a passion for storytelling. They want to get the stories told. They want to report on our community. And we need journalism right now. We've got a very important election coming up in the District of Columbia this year. We've got midterm elections. The presidential elections coming up in 2 years. This is not the time for journalism to go silent. And this is especially the time for us not only to stay engaged, register to vote, and support our local institutions. And that's why I'm excited to have the guests that we have with us today, because those also are institutions that we need to support. Okay, that was my preaching moment. I'll get back to that later. But while tuning into the show today, I want you to spread the word and share this broadcast on your social media platforms. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Washington Informer TV, no spaces, just Washington Informer TV, where you can watch some of the Let's Talk episodes that you might have missed. So with that, I am going to my heart is open and so happy to bring on Dr. Karsonya Whitehead, who otherwise we call Dr. K, to talk to us about ASALH, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And I should say, Dr. K has her own show. So I'm going to let her talk a little bit about that too, because when you're not watching Let's Talk, there's another channel you can go to and check her out. So how are you doing, Dr. K? How's the things going?
Thank you so much, Denise Rolock Barnes. I am doing well. Let me just congratulate you on all the amazing work you have done. You do an incredible job of holding up the banner of teaching our history and making sure our community gets involved and remains aware of what's happening. Now that democracy is definitely dying in a lot of different presses, I'm excited that the work you're doing remains.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and at this significant historical moment in history. I mean, this is the 100th anniversary of Black History Month, and you all have done some amazing programming around that. So talk to us about, the history of ASALH. Of course, we can't do that without talking about Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and how he actually became, launched Black History Week and then the month. I want to do a little historical journey there.
Thank you so much. So I want to take us back just a little bit to pull us forward. So in 1926, he set it sideline for us to really intentionally focus on teaching our history in the schools, teaching it in the communities, teaching it everywhere from the beauty shops to the pulpits, because he was concerned about the ways in which young people were being educated about our history. He said history belongs to us, and we had to do the work to make sure that young people were learning about the contributions that Black people had made to America. We were already celebrating within our community before Dr. Woodson put some structure around it, because Black folks were already celebrating after the assassination of President Lincoln. They were celebrating his birthday on February 12th, and they were celebrating the birthday of Frederick Douglass. 2 years after Frederick Douglass died, Mary Church Terrell had introduced Douglass Day. And that, in which we're already talking about Lincoln, we're talking about Douglass, and intentional in terms of lifting up our. It was Negro History Week, and it was being celebrated. It eventually evolved into Black History Week. Say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. Think of James Brown. Think of the Kent State celebrating and lifting it up. And then in 1976, after the Black community had put pressure on the Gerald Ford administration, we received the first proclamation during the bicentennial year, officially proclaiming February is Black History Month. But we didn't wait to be proclaimed. We were already doing it, but the official proclamation did join us after 50 years of Negro History Week. And now we're at a series of Black History commemorations.
We are having some technical difficulties, it sounds like, with Dr. K. I'm not sure what's happening. And so we are going to see if we can get her to go back out and come back in again. Oh, you there?
I am here.
Yeah, we
it
have
does keep it coming on and off.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what you
So,
need me to do.
maybe Dr. K, if you just revisit, can you come back in again and let's see if that works?
I sure can. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. No, we appreciate it. And I just wanted to say while we're taking this break, and I'm going to ask her about this, you all know that the Washington Informer, is one of 10 Black-owned newspapers across the country that make up a collaboration called Word in Black. It's a website, it's a digital platform of news and information. Some of it's gathered from the 10 publications. Some, we have writers that do stories and others submit. And it was brought to my attention that currently, right now, there's a story on Word in Black. You can go there at wordinblack.com about a 250th anniversary event. 250 meaning the anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, that the National Endowment for the Arts is producing. It's an event called the Big Read 2026 to 2027, honoring America 250 Library. And out of that, there were 24 books that were recommended by the Library of Congress for folks to read during the, or in celebration of the nation's 250th anniversary. Strangely enough, out of the 24 titles, there were 14 white authors, 5 white male authors, 5 white female authors, 3 Black male authors, 1 Native American woman author, a Latin woman author, and guess how many Black women authors? Well, if you did the math, I've already given you 24. No books were selected by Black women authors. Now, what you got to say about that? So that's why our history is ours. We don't need anybody to declare it. And I know Dr. K. Whitehead would probably have a lot to say about that as an author herself, and working with so many historians through ASALH and her other affiliations. It's a disgrace. I know that all of us are reading or have read amazing, amazing books by Black female authors. So here we go again. We're being written out of the history about the history. But, That's all that is. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Go to wordinblack.com and check out the article. Wordinblack.com. Check out the article that's written by Tracy Charles McGee. And then, of course, if you have some comments, we're going to also post this on the Washington Informer's website. But, check it out, give your thoughts, talk about the books that you're reading. Tomorrow, is Dr. K back, Chevry or anybody?
I am.
Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. Because
Thank
I'm
you.
just going on and on because I'll be in your neighborhood books for this big book club event tomorrow and I know that these folks are going to be really irate about this. I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but
I
uh,
did. I was able to still listen in. Just a small number of books written by Black people on this list. So yes, I was listening in. Thank you.
and none by Black women. No books
Yes.
by Black women. But anyway, let's continue with what you do with ASALH and the whole history of Black History Month.
Thank you
I
so
want,
much.
yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about Dr. Woodson as well.
Okay. And I will just, if you will allow me, I know we had some technical difficulties, but I do think it's important for people to just get a little quick smidge of the history and why it's important to understand that Dr. Carter G. Woodson, when he launched and established Negro History Week, it wasn't because this time was given to us. That's one of the myths about Black history is that we were given the shortest month of the year. And so we have to negotiate our history on those 28 to 29 days. It was intentionally chosen by Dr. Woodson because we were already celebrating within our community. It has since spread around the country and around the world. It is not just to say we only teach Black History Month, to teach Black history during February. We teach Black history all year round. We just do a special emphasis on it during the month of February. We're asking people to join with us to protect, promote, and preserve Black history. Now more than ever, it is important for people to understand that you cannot write the American historical narrative without including the histories of Black people. Like that intentional work trying to erase us, trying to take away our history is something that Dr. Carter G. Woodson was pushing against when he established Negro History Week. It was our mission in the beginning, and now a century later, it's still the same mission to make sure our history is included because Black history is American history.
And I think the point that you're raising goes back to this anti-DEI stuff because, it's almost as if folks we get upset because we were given permission
Mm-hmm.
to do something that now we feel as though someone has taken away.
I do think we have to, in terms of claiming the space, you know this from your work with the Washington Informer, we do not wait for permission. Like we celebrate ourselves. We support our newspapers. We support our universities, our HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. We support Black press and Black radio. I'm thinking of my own radio station, WEAA, at Morgan State University. Like we have always historically made sure that we were taking care of what was happening in our community. I'm telling people we have to get back to that community minded type of activism. It's not just looking out and waiting for permission. It's doing the work within our communities to make sure that our institutions, our organizations, our Black media outlets, that they survive this moment. We are clearly under attack. But when we're under attack, what we have done since we arrived in this country is we stand up and we push back. People have to exercise that muscle of resilience and resistance and understand that they know what to do. Join up with the organizations doing the work. Defend them with everything you have. Use your time, your talent, and your treasure. That is the only way we're going to make it through this time and make it through with our organizations and institutions intact.
Well, I want to thank you for giving us a taste of what we're going to have on February the 28th, when we talk to the ASALH luncheon, where you are also the keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
But let's share a little bit more about ASALH so that people will know, because we're trying to push membership, right? I say
yes.
We, a journalist, but I'm not an unbiased journalist.
Yes.
My press has always been advocacy press. And so part of what I'm doing now is advocating memberships in ASALH, but talk about the organization and what's coming up on the 28th.
And thank you so much, Denise, because we know that not only are you not an unbiased journalist, you also have sat on the ASALH Executive Council. So you understand the work that we do. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, folks, and I urge everyone to take a moment and find out more about Dr. Carter G. Woodson. People know about what we argue, the big six. They've heard the names of Douglas and Tubman and Sojourner Truth, and they've heard the names, and they know Barack Obama, and they know about W.B. Du Bois or Fannie Lou Hamer or Ida B. Wells. You need to go and learn about Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who was born to enslaved parents in Virginia, who didn't even go to high school until he was 20 years old. He worked as a sharecropper. He worked in the coal mines. He used to work in the coal mines during the day, and when it was time to get paid at night, he would stay and teach history to veterans of the Civil War who worked in the coal mine, and they would do corrective work with him. He went on to be the first child of enslaved parents to get a PhD in America, and only the second Black person after Du Bois to get a PhD from Harvard University. But he was uniquely concerned about our history. He was uniquely concerned about the work that we were doing. And he said we have to put institutions in place to make sure that we are protecting it. One such institution is ASALH. He launched ASALH in 1915 at the Chicago State Fair, along with three or four other colleagues. It was the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History at that time, which later became, of course, African American life and history. But he didn't stop there with the ASALH, with this organization that was committed to preserving our history, making sure that the academicians were able to come when they're talking about Black history, they can get the correct history on page so it can be imprinted for future generations. A year later, he launched a journal for Negro history, which is now the Journal of African American History, which is published quarterly, which gives folks in the academy an opportunity to publish papers about what's happening in our communities. We have a long history from 1916 to today. You can trace America's history through Ja, but he didn't stop there. Here comes Negro History Week in 1926, and here comes the launch of the Black History Bulletin, which was previously called the Negro History Bulletin, which is for teachers, middle school and elementary and high school teachers, lesson plans where they can actually take this information and teach it in every classroom they have. So Dr. Woodson wasn't just about doing history for the ivory tower. He was about doing history for the masses. He said history is made by the people and not just by great men. And the organizations and institutions and the publications that he set up are all about making sure that history is in our hands. I think about what Jimmy Baldwin said, James Baldwin, that we jokingly call Jimmy Baldwin, said, look, history is not the past. History is the present. We carry our history with us. We are making our history as we move along.
I cannot go further without just, and maybe I should ignore this comment, but I've got to. Someone, Slybuster asked, "Have we thanked the white person for ending slavery today?"
Have we thanked them? No, because if you were to just say that slavery was ended by white America, then you're not really understanding the long history of resistance in this country. I blame the school system, and I blame white supremacy at the core for teaching that slavery is something that we just kind of passively were involved in, that we were happy to be workers. Those are all lies. We were having moments of resistance, even on the continent, when you had parents tell their children, these are the parts of the woods you don't go to because they're taking people there and they never are seen again. It is talking about captured African women who chose to jump overboard rather than get on the smaller boat to take them out to the big ship. Talking about when they would bring the captured Africans up on deck, and many of them would try to resist, some of whom were shot and thrown overboard, some of whom chose to jump overboard, then go to a land. You fail to think about the ways in which there was work stoppages that took place on the plantation, people running away, people trying to learn how to read, people putting glass in the food of the plantation owners. We don't have to thank white people only for ending slavery. We thank the contributions of both communities because, as Frederick Douglass said, slavery would not have ended if you didn't have colored soldiers joining up, including the one woman who joined up as a soldier, which is Harriet Tubman, that we cannot forget, who actually did the hard work on the ground to make sure that the message of freedom was carried from plantation to plantation. Lincoln did not simply put out the Emancipation Proclamation out of the goodness of his heart. It was a war strategy, which is why he talked about it in September, but didn't release it until January. The pressure was being put on Abraham Lincoln by Frederick Douglass and others to say, you're not going to win this war without Black people. And in exchange for our participation, we are fighting for our freedom as well.
Yes, yes, yes. I just happened to read a book, and I don't know how I came across it. Was the story of Mary Bowser? I don't know if
Yes.
you've seen that. It was I didn't realize it was a true story. And yeah, she there was a white woman who she collaborated with, and they worked well together in Richmond, to help
Yes.
the Federalists beat the
Yeah.
Confederates
Yeah.
Richmond. So white folks played their role, and
But
they probably been thanked. But this is not what we're talking about today. But I just wanted to bring that
yeah.
up because it's an odd
Well,
question.
no, I'm glad you mentioned Mary Bowser, because Mary Bowser, who was born into slavery, was a missionary to Liberia. So we know that one of the things that Lincoln had set up through the American Colonization Society, based here, of course, in Maryland, was that, once you get your freedom, we need you Black folks to move out of here, because Lincoln was very clear. He did not think that Black folks and white folks can live together and ever have any form of semblance, community, or equity. But Mary Bowser was a Union spy in the Confederate White House. You got to think about the fact that we were two countries, and the Confederacy had their own president, Jefferson Davis. Mary Bowser worked in that White House, and she would get information about what they were planning to do, and she would smuggle it out to make sure the Union had that information. Everybody had a part to play, and I think we need to make sure that we're not just thanking one, because then we're thanking up. We should be thanking out.
Oh, I got you. I love it. I love it. So let me ask you. So with ASALH has their 100th anniversary event. They've got the luncheon that's coming up on the 28th. Which sorry folks, it's sold out. It's sold out. And speaking of books, you have the books festival that's going on as well. And so these are things that are happening this month in February. I'd like you to talk a little bit about that. But I really want to talk a little bit more about beyond that, the Freedom School, a couple of other things that ASALH is doing that people can engage with as we have this 365 days of celebrating or acknowledging Black history.
So for our end of the month celebration, which is our Black History Month luncheon, which of course is sold out. It's the century of Black History commemorations. We're also having this author's book signing in the morning. We have partnered with the United Postal Service, and they are going to do the release of a stamp, which we're very excited about. Everyone knows that we have this wonderful partnership where we have the Black stamps being released, and they're always unveiled at our luncheon today. For the one on the 28th, Harriet Powers is going to be released, and that was Harriet Powers was an American folk artist and a quilter who was born in slavery back in rural Northeast Georgia. And so they are doing a stamp in her honor. We're going to unveil that, so you can come down for free and be a part of the author's book signing. Additionally, we have events happening throughout the month. I'm encouraging people to go to ASALH, ASALH.org, and you can pull down all of our activities happening from both the local level and the national level. All of our convenings, the convening that kicked off on Sunday, the big Black History Month convening, is available. You can go and watch it. You can also see what we're doing going beyond February. One of the big initiatives of ASALH, and is a staple of my presidency, is the Freedom Schools. We have 9 Freedom Schools happening around the country, and we're going to extend that to 14, with one of them being taught here at my institute, the Carson Institute in Baltimore. Every Saturday, we have free teaching on Black history. It's not just enough to be Black and say, well, because I'm Black, I know the Black experience. No, no, no. You can understand how it feels, or you can embody the experience, but you need to also learn our history in a more formal way, so that way you can teach it and you can share it. So the Freedom Schools is an incredible initiative, as well as continuing to publish continuing to publish the BHB, the Black History Bulletin. We're telling people, if you're not a member, become a member. If you are a member, become a life member. And if you're a life member, then buy membership for your friends and family. There's something for everyone to do.
And especially young people. I think
Yes.
it's a good idea to buy membership, purchase a membership for a young person so that they can grow up becoming a life member of ASALH.
Mhm.
Dr. K, is there anything I've missed? I know we're, running on time, and I know you have a lot to do, but is there anything else you wanted to share with us? Right, I don't know if there's a sneak preview of next year's theme or anything. I want folks to understand that the theme that the country adopts, minus
Mhm.
one person who has orange hair, but the theme the country adopts is the theme that ASALH establishes for Black History Month.
Yes.
But whether you want to tell us or not, I just wanted folks to understand that. Anything we
Thank you so
missed?
much. Yes, I will say two things. One is that ASALH has been holding up Black History Month since 1926. We've been doing that work. We set the theme every single year. We agonize over it. We debate about it. Sometimes we fight about it. And then we figure out where the country's going. So for 2026, as everyone knows, it's a century of Black history commemorations. For 2027, it's Black print culture to digital Blackness. We're going to talk about from AI to social media to online print culture. That's going to be the theme for next year because that is where the country is going. The last thing I want to mention is that people can follow along with me on my journey with Black History Month. You can find me either on my radio show, Today with Dr. K, that's on WEAA 88.9 FM, Morgan State University Radio, every day from 3 to 6 p.m., or you can find me on all social media outlets. But every day I'm posting a Black History Month daily challenge, and we are on day 6. And today is like just breathe for a second. After that horrible image came out this morning, I think Black folks got to step back, breathe, regroup, and get recommitted so we can get into week 2 of Black History Month.
I think someone just asked in the chat, and it may be the image you're talking about that came from um,
Yes, from Truth
social
Social. Yes.
about Obama's.
Yes, that it was actually a video. People
Yeah,
have just taken a screenshot, but it was a video that superimposed the faces of our forever POTUS and our forever FLOTUS, President and Michelle Obama, on the bodies of apes. And we understand that if we look at it historically, this idea of likening Black people to monkeys is something that has been a historical dig at our community. It is not new. I think when people think about the Black community and you think about the image of apes and monkeys, you understand they connected that to us early on and actually tried to do research to figure out why we no longer had a tail. Like, this is a long line of historical research where they argue that we were completely evolved from apes directly as Black people, and it's only through their relationships with us that they were able to, quote, civilize us and help the process along. So this was not a mistake. I know that the White House has since said, the press secretary said, oh, no, it was a whole video about, the 47 as the king of the jungle, and it just so happens that we put everybody in there. No, but if the president and Michelle Obama ended up on the body of apes, that is an intentional decision. And it was spread, it came through last night, and it is spread like wildfire today, because the question that we must continue to ask ourselves over and over again: what does it mean to be a convenient target? If you want to distract, then you go back to racism at its core. It's a distraction. So I tell people, learn the history, challenge the history, but stand firm that we have a lot of work to do.
Dr. K. Wise Whitehead, thank you so very much for being with us today, and all of your, your knowledge is, and it's free. You know what I mean? You read books, right?
Yes.
you, you all do the same thing, and hopefully sign up to become a member of ASALH and to follow, all the programs that you all are doing. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Denise.
All right, have a good one. So yeah, thank you all that are listening, especially you, Stacy Brown, for prompting a couple of questions that you wanted us to ask, and I'm glad that we did. And anybody else, that have some comments, feel free to just drop them in, and I'll try to weave them into the show if I can. Is Aaron Myers here? I am really excited to talk to Aaron because now we're going to bring this conversation local. We're going to talk about the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. Aaron is the executive director there, and is he here? Okay. Oh, there you are. Hey, Aaron, how are you?
I'm doing well. I am dealing with some tech issues, and out of the pocket meetings this morning. So I
Yeah.
appreciate your patience.
Oh, no, no, no. I was excited and looking forward to having this conversation. So, and wanted to make sure I gave you enough time
I appreciate you.
about stuff that you all are doing over there. I mean, I went to the website the other day, True Confessions. I don't go as often as I should, but I went there the other day because I got an email and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'll be busy the whole month of February. You all are so many things. So, first of all, thanks for being with us and tell our viewers a little about the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities.
Well, and thank you for having me. The DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. This I look fat. It's okay. Y'all pray with me. The DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities is your state art agency. So, what a lot of people don't know is that every state has an agency that is designated with issuing grants, promoting the art and the humanities of that particular state. Uh, the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities is that entity for the nation's capital, for Washington, D.C. Ironically, and I like to throw this caveat in there, when I was hired and put into this position, there were only two people of color, two African Americans who held these titles in the country.
Wow.
It was myself and a gentleman by the name of Michael Bobbitt in Massachusetts, who previously lived and worked in Washington, D.C. Now I'm happy to say there's about four of us, I believe, throughout the country who are black or brown. However, it's important to know that the work that I'm able to do in spreading the word of what happens in the nation's capital to other jurisdictions. I was so happy when my colleague and my counterpart in Virginia sent out in their newsletter and on an email encouraging all of the people in Virginia to drop by the Go-Go Museum because she's such a fan of Go-Go,
Wow.
and she thought everybody should know about it. Um, the way that we've been able to invite our counterparts here, we're going to in October. All of the state art agency directors, deputies, and their boards will be coming here to Washington D.C. in October, and we'll be able to give the United States, those who represent art and culture in all of those states, a bird's eye view of what the art and culture looks like here in the nation's capital. They will be here, so you'll be hearing more about that as we get closer to that particular date. But we have we dole out grants, competitive grants that range from capacity building, both large and small, to projects, events, and festivals, to our fellowship grants that deals with individuals, to our art education grants that funds everything from field trips to teaching artists, to our general operating support grants. That I'm happy to say that we've been able to create an on ramp from a capacity building grant level to organizations who are being introduced to what general operating support would look like. So our grants, 80% of our budget, at least, goes directly out the door to grants. And out of all of the states in the country, we are constantly in the top 3 to 5 states as far as funding that goes out to the community, which is something we should be very proud of.
Oh, and the programming is there for people to see. That's the part I like about it. I mean, I know that there were some in the past. There've been controversy around who got grants and who didn't get grants, and what part of the city was being supported, and what part was being you know getting more support. I think you've evened the playing field. At least that's what we understand. So it's a little different. But I'm curious as we are into this, and this is not really supposed to be part of our conversation, but while we're here, with this anti DEI movement, where you all, are very inclusive in who receives grants. So, I mean, are you all not impacted by this overall national policy?
Well, the city itself, I postured our agency around the theme of we're one government, and meaning that although we're an independent agency, there is a mayor's office of racial equity,
Mhm.
and our leadership in this city, both from the council standpoint and the mayor's standpoint, they have viewed DEI as a priority, and so we aligned ourselves with our government. and we did not change our priority from that standpoint. But what I'm proud of is that we hired a person to help lead those efforts. And when she was hired, she came forward with a culture forward program, meaning that what happens once you acknowledge that DEI should be a priority? It's one thing to say, well, we are DEI focused, but what does that mean?
Right.
And so we have now shifted to culture and community because it was clear that we had already embedded, we're not new to this, we're true to it. So these principles had been embedded into our RFAs, into what we do, and our grantees, which is so beautiful. They've already embraced it, and they had seen this as well. So we have gone to the next step of culture forward and understanding, how are we being mindful from an ADA perspective? How are we being mindful from that language aspect, access perspective? I mean, we have tried to shift from awareness to intentionality. And
Mm-hmm.
how do we model said intentionality? And then how do we teach said intentionality? And then how do we provide resources for said intentionality? And then once that intentionality is incorporated, then what comes next, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm proud of what we're doing. And I would like to also say that what we do cannot be done, and what we are doing cannot be done in most states,
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
that's
I feel for my state art directors who have a heart for this particular work, but are penalized when they try to go down this particular route. When this particular route is simply making sure that my humanity is recognized and seen, especially here during Black History Month.
mm,
We this month we are honoring those African Americans in the district that have had significant influence and have made their mark upon society and culture and art. Some other state art agencies can't do that from a social media standpoint. We have been able to do something that might seem simple, but it's impactful as that.
right.
And we have tried to be, you mentioned that beforehand, it may have seemed like just the same old people get grants. I was shocked that I got this position because I was probably the chief protagonist of the commission. I was probably the person who testified the most about improvements that needed to happen. And when I got the position, both the commissioner and the council member stated to me, it's time for you to put your money where your mouth is.
It's big.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we are.
Right, right. So talking about inclusivity, I definitely, before we talk about the January Jazz Jam and some of the other things that you're all doing, the exhibit that you have right now, I mean, where you're kind of focusing on, uh, you know, incarcerated people who are doing photography. Talk about this exhibit that's there and where people can come and see it and how and when and that sort of thing.
So we're at 200 I Street Southeast.
Mhm.
This is the same building that CFSA is in, an Octo building for those who are familiar with district government. It's our I Street Gallery, and I believe the hours are like 9 to 6 or 9 to 6, I believe.
Mhm.
Come in and take a look at it. This was a program that was actually funded by the commission in the 80s for about a 3 year span. And we went into Lorton and the DC jails and we worked with the women and male prisoners around the aspects of teaching photography. And they were able to capture behind the veil what was happening there and showing their creativity, talent. There are images there that, in my opinion, belong in museums and should be in textbooks and seen by the world. But this particular exhibit, we have had former inmates who were in this program who've been able to come back and share their experiences and see their work there. Um, it's probably one of the most emotional exhibits that we've had at the gallery. And on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, we are going to be having so this is breaking news for everybody. So we just broke news on this program.
All right.
Um, Monday, we're going to have the beginning conversations of possibly restarting that program.
Wonderful.
This exhibit was so impactful. I had a meeting yesterday with one of our commissioners who basically told me that I am going to be a pain in your rear about getting this started again because we see the true impact of this. And when I shared that there's a possibility that we could start this program back up again, and I shared it with the curator, she stated that that was the best news that she's ever heard.
I'm
To
sure.
see that the work of this exhibit has sparked not only interest but possibly from our agency action.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's good news. And from what I've heard, and I have confessed, haven't been there yet, but I am going to come take a look at it. I love photographers. I love photographs. That's my kind of exhibit. So I'm glad that it's still there, and that there's a possibility that this program will be reinstituted. But we want to talk a little bit about your jazz program as well. So is that something we're doing that's extending into February? You did
and
a
well,
jazz
we
jam.
we partnered with we were asked to partner with the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment,
Mhm.
ARC for me. And I have to state this because some people think, and I don't want anyone ever to think, me being a jazz artist and musician, that I'm biased only to jazz. I've had being in this position, I have been able to learn and recognize all of the great art that's here. I was a go-go fan beforehand. I'm even more of a go-go fan now after being in this position. However, with this particular program, having this jazz at Union Station, as people come into the district, as people are traveling throughout the district, it's amazing what jazz does to the mood and attitude of a person and how it sparks not only internal creativity, but compassion. It elicits positive feelings. I know what it's like. We've seen in New York what it's like to have live music in spaces of transit. I familiar with, I believe, Sandra Bloodworth, I think is her name, who created the program in New York. To see that we are able to partner with OCTFME to see this jazz jam happen there in Union Station, it's phenomenal. These
Mhm.
musicians are being seen by a great deal of people. A great deal of people are being impacted by some fantastic musicians. And let me tell you, OCTFME has chosen, I believe, some of the top jazz musicians in this city. Ironically, I just got back from the Grammys on Tuesday. And as I was flying here in the airport at LAX, I was met by two jazz musicians from here in Washington. Elijah Ballbed was one of them, who was preparing to play there in Los Angeles. So DC has a long history, starting, of course, with Duke Ellington being born here, and the jazz that happened at the original Howard Theater and the Lincoln Theater before it hit New York City. New York can be thankful for jazz because of Washington, D.C. We are doing that same thing with this particular program, and I want to celebrate all the musicians, all the artists who are participating, and really thank the Office of Cable Television for asking us to partner with them to do this.
And when do they play, like all day, or is there certain times of day that they
It's
perform?
it's during a period of time. It's and after during that transit period
Okay,
that
we have the dates up. We have the
yeah,
dates.
exactly, yes, and it's an exciting thing. I can only imagine how I experienced in other cities when I get off the train and I'm walking through trying to find my way and I'm greeted not by piped music but by live music. Live music does something to you,
Yeah,
and to hear that, it's like, oh, this is pretty cool. Well, like, what am I? It puts a little groove in your step. And I got to give a shout out to Herb Scott with the Capitol Hill Jazz Foundation because he started something similar to this by the Eastern Market Metro that
yes,
oftentimes by the time people would come out of the metro, by the time they ended it, there was a crowd. And it was delightful to hear people who stated, well, I didn't know after a hard day of work that I was going to be greeted with jazz. And then I decided to stay for it. I'm just looking forward to those people who are going to be coming into Union Station, walking out, being greeted by this music, and then staying for it. That's a beautiful thing.
yeah. Aaron, folks who are watching, whether they know or not, I'm sharing the fact that you are an amazing musician yourself. You sort of mentioned it, and that you actually are the music director at Covenant Baptist Church,
Yes.
UCC
Minister of music there. Yeah.
Music, and you play every Sunday, and you have an amazing choir. Just quickly, I mean, what was your journey into music and the arts?
I'm always shocked when people tell me they don't know how to play the piano
Hmm.
because I played it since I was three, and it's something that comes to me. It's an extension of who I am, and I was blessed being raised in a very small town of only 1,700 people, and coming from an enclave of only 312 people, to have a community that knew that they
Where
didn't
was
have a whole bunch of stages to put me on,
where was
but
that, Aaron? Where did you come? You
I
said come.
was I was raised in Goodlow, Texas. Goodlow, Goodlow, Texas.
Okay.
That's an all black. It's a sharecropping community, all black community, which is why I love DC because I was raised in a predominantly black safe space with
Mhm.
proud black people. Outside of Kearns, Texas, that was a population of around 1,700 people, and that population said, "What could we do to foster this young man and its art and his heart?" Ranging from the church, I was in lessons both privately. I was a part of the band. I was a band captain, uh, and then when I decided to go into the army, I ended up directing the brigade choir during basic. So I got up earlier doing on Sunday mornings than I did every other morning during basic training. Leaving there, coming back and doing theater at Navarro College, and leaving there, going to Hollywood, being able to work at West Angeles Church of God in Christ as the assistant to their youth pastor and doing music, being a music supervisor for some films and a studio musician, doing stand up comedy, all those good things. And then coming to Washington not knowing that DC had such a rich cultural and a live music and a live art scene, and also was close in proximity not only to New York and Philadelphia and also to Europe, but it's an international city. And I think that's the blessing that Washingtonians should take pride in, a space where this international city is fostering such great talent and creativity that a poor boy from a sharecropping community in rural Texas could be adopted in a place that could support and foster his art. And the way that I can give back is ensuring that the commission in this moment is being as inclusive and embracing all of Washington D.C. and its creativity as possible.
Boy, that's a perfect sort of I guess journey story of your journey and where you are now and why you carry this position so well. Before we go, can you just one let us know or let the viewers know if there are any opportunities that folks need to take advantage of right now at the commission, or where they can find out about any grants or whatever that they may want to apply for? What is the best way to do that?
Go to dcarts.dc.gov. This is the time when you need to be scouring our website to see where do you fit in, and on our contact list for our employee, our emails are there, and my email is there. If you have questions, I want you to find a grant manager, email them, and CC me. My email is Aaron, Aaron dot Myers, Myers at dc.gov. And if you have questions, email a grant manager, CC me. I'll make sure these meetings and these questions are answered. But we're preparing to enter these grant seasons and these application seasons. So let's go ahead and go to dcarts.dc.gov.
All right. Aaron Myers, thank you so very much for being with us. And thank you for all the great work you all are doing over there. And I tell folks, go to the website now. There's a lot of stuff going on this month that you want to take advantage of. So appreciate you. We
Thank you.
have on the gray, so maybe that means we both look fat. It's okay.
Hey, look, I'm doing the best. My
Fine.
grandmother just told me I was gaining weight on her birthday earlier this week. So, and that's the grandmama's love. So I'm going to have to get back into Vita.
Yeah, what goes up can come down. So all right. Talk to you soon, Aaron. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All righty. So we talked about music. Clearly, the show's going to run over a little bit, and but that's okay because it's Black History Month. We take the time that we need, and I just hope my producers have time as well. But we talked about how music is the soul of the heart. But I think there's one other thing, and that's food. Food actually, I think, calms, what do you say, the inner beast in us. I don't care what's going on. You put some food on the table, people going to get around and sit down and eat and argue later. So that's why I'm really happy to have the owner of Sweet Tooth Café, Steve, who is with us now, Chef Steve, who's the founder and owner of Sweet Tooth Cafe. And yeah, my stomach is growling, Steve. But welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be here. I think
Yeah,
it's tough to try to follow those two amazing guests that you just had. The history lesson that I just got sitting here listening to Dr. K. Whitehead and Aaron regarding the the arts and the music. It's just been amazing. So I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
well, it all ties into what you do because you create. I think your sweet tooth, your desserts from sort of a perspective of what Black folks like, and and then it's also a place where there's a lot of creativity and folks can come and great meals for all kinds of appetites. So tell us, I know you've had the location in Capitol Heights. Now you're in Anacostia. So give us a little background on Sweet Tooth, how you got it started, and
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. We started June 1st, 1996 in Capitol Heights, Maryland on 56 Ritchie Road, where we're still located. We expanded to the Boulevard in 2005, I think, when the Boulevard opened, and which, that area now has the hospital, it's a medical campus over there right now. And, but yeah, and so I'm a native Washingtonian, been in culinary arts, worked for several hospitality companies, worked for Marriott, Hilton, Hilton International, Hyatt. I've worked for pretty much all of them. Taught culinary arts and pastry arts at Prince George's Community College for over a decade. So I love the hospitality industry, love learning myself, learning to teach people to have a respect for this field and this work. And I tell people that once they engage with me, hopefully they'll leave with a deeper respect for it and to never go into someone's operation and ask them why they're so expensive, because there's a lot of work, a lot of art. Just like any other profession, there's so much that needs to go into it to get to this level. But again, like I said, we opened here about 10 months ago in Anacostia. I'm a native Washingtonian. I was very excited about the opportunity to come back to DC from Prince George's County and to bring some of our great products and service to this unserved community.
One of the things they say about a lot of businesses is location, location, location. And, for so long, people were not looking at, first of all, Southeast, Ward 8, East of the River, Anacostia, as a place to start or open a business. And, I know that it's been a struggle for you there, but why did you select or decide to open in Anacostia?
I will be honest, first of all, we were recipients of Mayor Bowser's the Food Access Fund grant that we did receive with some help in putting this operation together. But again, I just saw the need. I mean, we know that this area is so rich in culture and history, and there's so much just untapped into resources over here in this area. So I think reviewing it and getting an opportunity to the business where we're located in this building, there, it was owned by Masjid Muhammad Medina Life, and they went into a partnership with Banneker Ventures, who's an African American developer, and they put the 80 units of apartments upstairs, and they were seeking out what they thought a viable option as a food restaurant or facility to come in and to open. So they reached out to us and asked us if we would be interested. Of course, many of the people, they were, previous customers with us for many years prior to that. And so we said, hey, we looked at it, we did some due diligence, and we said, okay, let's try and make this work. Not to mention, like I said, with me growing up just on the other side of the Sousa Bridge, I was really excited about trying to come back to this area and bring some of these great products and service here.
Well, I know a lot of people, I've talked to folks who have said, I walk by and I see all the cakes and the pies, and they didn't know that you also serve food, breakfast, lunch,
Right.
dinner.
Right.
But let's talk about this, the sweet tooth part of it,
Okay.
what you try to offer as far as your dessert menus.
Like I said, I had European training and background, obviously coming from the hotel industry. And what I've attempted to do was to try to take, my mother was a incredible home baker. And I learned, as a matter of fact, like once I started working in the hotel industry, that my grandfather in Louisa County, his name was Doc Hooker. He used to bake cakes and pies and just come up with all types crazy inventions. And I mean, he was like the town baker down in Louisa County. He had stuff like peppermint pies and things like that he would make. And everybody would just come to, they had a small farm, and come and just, purchase these cakes and pies and desserts for them, especially for their Sunday dinners. And I didn't know that until I was already, into my profession or career, so to speak. But again, what I've tried to do is take some of these, I guess, if you will, gourmet or upscale desserts, pastries, and foods, and just try to put a soulful accent onto it, and just to present it to our folks. So again, I do have only halal products, which means we don't serve anything with alcohol or pork or anything in it. So even though my training was heavy, European desserts and pastries, are heavy with infused with alcohol. And that was and that has a great part of the culinary industry. But again, our products don't have those. But nevertheless, we have some really great signature products that we've been able to come up with, and people have known us for these. We're going into our third decade now.
Well, I would warn Aaron about coming there if he's talking about losing weight, because I know every time I'm in there, you bring over a sample of something, and even vegan desserts. Which for people who are vegans, there's something there for you as well.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the baby, my daughter Amina, who runs this cafe. Amina grew up with allergies as a child, and which means she couldn't have any type of dairy, eggs, nuts, any of those type of things. And she was just determined that she was going to enjoy, these products herself. So we had a thing going, whereas she would look at all of our, I guess, signature or top or most popular items and say, I'm going to find a way, Dad, to recreate that and do it in a vegan form. And when I tell you, we've traveled up and down, the East Coast, we've gone out as far, the West Coast, Los Angeles, and visited many of the well-known vegan restaurants and bakeries and cafes, just to see what the competition was really like and what products they had. And I must admit, she has really done an incredible job at coming up with some really, really excellent formulas that she's been able to consistently put together and to serve to this community. As a matter of fact, I've been just amazed myself at looking at how many people in this area prefer plant-based options, even with the food, like our breakfast stuff. The plant-based options look like they almost outweigh the regular, protein and food items that we have on our breakfast menu. So we're looking forward to get more people acquainted with these items, and to know, like you just said, that we have to have these various items to respect everybody's, whether it's dietary or just their, perspective on how they want to eat to live. So that's what we're trying to tap into.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to note that you said how well received the vegan menu is, because when people have their stereotypes. We all have these images of folks that live in this community, and I'll say this community because I'm a neighbor, you know, I'm up the street,
Mhm.
but you know, yeah, I mean, but we don't always have choices. And
Right.
now we have a choice, and I'm hoping, I don't know how things are going, but um, let me just, I don't, we don't want to take a lot of time on
Mhm.
what's not happening because we want to see more happening.
Correct. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing. But what do you have planned for Valentine's Day? What can people come and
Okay.
this
Yeah,
or
we have some dynamite. Like I said, some of our signature cakes we do them in a heart shape. We do a white chocolate mousse cake that has a chiffon cake base, white chocolate mousse, fresh strawberries. It's enrobed in white chocolate shavings. Delicious cake is always a hit. Triple chocolate mousse is a four-layer chocolate cake inside with white milk and dark chocolate mousse, covered with chocolate ganache, and of course strawberry shortcake. Of course, everybody wants that. We have it in a heart shape. So we do serve these cakes. We have some incredible cupcakes. I think our most popular ones for this time of the year would be red velvet and of course the strawberry or strawberry crunch cupcakes that we do. And of course, you wouldn't have things holiday something like Valentine's Day without chocolate covered strawberries. And we do some little bouquets with those that we offer. So for our savory food, we're going to be offering a brunch menu for two for $35 for brunch on the 14th, early in the day from 10 to 3 or 4. And then we'll follow it up from 5 to 8 with the dinner. And our entrees consist of things like grilled salmon. We have an incredible roasted lamb chop, and we have Brussels sprouts, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and those things for the evening with the chef's choice of dessert. So we have some savory things on tap as well as some sweets. So I encourage you to tap into us and look in. We have this menus posted on our social media, and but we want to try and do these dinners by reservation.
well, it sounds like someone can come there for breakfast and spend the entire day. So they need to reserve a table for friends and just, you know, come for breakfast, dinner, little snacks and lunch, and then some dessert. And hey, it's a wonderful Valentine's Day. Plus, you've supported the community,
There
which
you
is
go. There you go.
love it. I love it. Anything else that you want to share with us, Steve? I always like to ask that question in case I missed something.
Yeah, I just want people to know also we are not just a destination to eat. We do have our space available for this event space. So if you're interested, you can go onto our website and or even on our social media, we have it posted. We have a demonstration kitchen where I'm currently speaking to you from, where we do culinary concepts, culinary classes. It's available for meeting space. So we do have this space available. Right now, we're currently working mostly with youth doing these 10 and 12-week culinary courses. We have an amazing response to that so far. And we do some individual classes just for individuals. We've done a sushi class recently, one with macaroons, one with frozen desserts like, you know, gelato, ice creams, and sorbets. So we have that space, and the dining room area in the evening is also available for events. If you're having 100 people, 120 people, that space is available as well. So we have other things going on as opposed to just the, you know, we have grab and go, of course, and sit and dine in, but we do have these other things going on as well.
And I didn't forget to, or I almost forgot to get you to mention your juices because you do have wonderful
Yeah.
juices
Oh
there.
yeah, oh yeah, yep. And we have a competition with those. We have one, the heartbeat juice is made with fresh beets. Juice has celery, and of course ginger. Seems to be a really good one. It's running neck to neck with the other one we call mango tango with this mango carrot, fresh carrot juice, turmeric, and ginger. Very good. And these juices are doing very well. People seem to be really embracing them. So we just try to keep them fresh. So we don't, you know, carry a whole lot at one time. So trying to get around those days, and when we do move them fast. I hate when people come in and we say, "Oh man, we sold out of those." And we're trying to. The whole idea is, you know, to make sure that they're fresh. We don't want them sitting around more than a couple of days.
Right,
Yep,
right.
yep, yep.
Well, I hope that we have tantalized folks' appetites enough. And if they didn't see it today, you know, this is going to be, we're going to rebroadcast this. And I hope that folks will come on down. And on behalf of the MLK Holiday Peace Walk and Parade Committee, we want to thank you for hosting us.
Absolutely.
Our meetings there in your space. People loved it and discovered it and loved the food. So
Thank you.
you're a great asset to the community.
Thank you.
Hopefully the community will continue to support you. So thank you so much for being with us today, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And like I say, it was amazing. The first two guests were really amazing. I got to figure out how to get Dr. Whitehead over at Sweet Tooth before this Black History Month is over. Maybe you can facilitate that.
Well, we'll do we all we can do is ask.
Yeah. No, actually, no, really, it was amazing. Like I said, it was some great learning points for me as well. So I really appreciate that.
All right, Steve, take care.
All right, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, all right?
Thank you, you too.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So, I hope you enjoyed the show. Sorry we had to run over a little bit more, but I think that, I hope that you enjoyed the guest today as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. But you all know we do this all the time. And I want to thank, of course, our producers, Chevy Lassiter and Jamon Jackson, for helping us to pull this show together. I think we had some great guests today. And like Steve, I hope you got something out of each one of them. We want to engage deeply with all of that we have, celebrate our legacies and continue to push for representation and understanding in our communities. This is our history. Nobody gave it to us, and nobody can take it away. So we celebrate what we think is important. And every day we're making history, every single day. So Dr. Karsonya Whitehead, Aaron Myers, director of the Arts Commission, and Chef Steve at Sweet Tooth. Those are institutions that we need to support one way or the other and spread the word. So we want you to be sure to check out our social media platforms throughout the week. And as we share a few of our Show Me Love videos we captured over the years, we want to help to lead us into this whole Black Love broadcast next week. In honor of Valentine's Day, we want us to not only love our partners, but love ourselves, love our bodies, love, just love, right? This is a spirit of loving. And as a community, you can tell what happens when we do spread the love. We've seen it with our three guests, and we want to talk more about that in the future. So I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you next Friday, same time, same place. If you see the rebroadcast, please make sure you share it with your friends. Follow us, subscribe, friend us. Oh, I don't know. Just, love us. That's it. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.